The sound of tearing fabric shattered the lunchtime chatter like a lightning strike. Samantha Lee froze in place, her tray of food slipping from her hands and crashing to the floor. For a split second, the world seemed to stop. Conversations halted. Heads turned. Every eye in the Roosevelt High cafeteria locked on her. Right behind her, a cruel voice rang out. Oops. Didn't know it would rip that easily. Jake Morton, the loudest, meanest bully in the school, stood there holding a torn piece of Samantha's shirt in his hand like it was some kind of trophy. His friends roared with laughter, banging the lunch tables, hooting like a pack of wolves. Samantha's face flushed, a burning red creeping up her neck and cheeks. Her heart pounded in her ears. She clutched the torn fabric of her shirt, trying to cover herself, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. She had always kept her head down. Always stayed out of trouble. Always thought that if she stayed quiet, the bullies would ignore her. She was wrong. For weeks, Jake and his gang had been teasing her, calling her names, tripping her in the hallways, whispering nasty comments behind her back. But this was different. This was public. This was humiliation meant to destroy her. A few students gasped. Some even looked guilty. But most stayed silent. They were afraid of Jake. Everyone was. Samantha felt a familiar ache in her chest, that sinking feeling of helplessness that had followed her every day since she joined the school. But this time, something inside her snapped. She wasn't helpless. Not anymore. Samantha took a slow, deep breath and straightened her posture. The laughter around her started to fade as students noticed something strange. She wasn't crying. She wasn't running away. She turned around and faced Jake, her eyes locking on his with a calm, focused stare. Jake scoffed. What? You gonna cry now? Samantha shook her head slowly. No. I'm done running. Jake's grin faltered for a split second. What did you say? Samantha dropped the torn piece of fabric on the ground. Then, before Jake could react, she stepped forward, fast. With a swift motion, she grabbed his wrist, twisted it hard, and yanked his arm behind his back. Jake let out a yelp of surprise as Samantha planted her foot and used a textbook self-defense maneuver to flip him over her hip. He slammed onto the cafeteria floor with a heavy thud. Silence. A stunned, breathless silence swept over the room. Jake's friends froze. Students dropped their forks. The teachers on lunch duty stood speechless. Jake groaned, trying to scramble to his feet. Samantha stood over him, calm and steady. If you ever touch me again, she said quietly, you'll be the one running. The entire cafeteria watched, jaws dropped, as Samantha turned away from Jake and calmly picked up her tray from the floor. And then, it happened. Clapping. It started with one student. Then another. And within seconds, the entire cafeteria erupted in applause and cheers. Jake sat on the floor, face pale, humiliated like never before. Samantha walked toward the exit, holding her head high, her heart pounding, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of finally standing up for herself. But this wasn't about revenge. This was about respect. Samantha had spent years believing that silence would protect her. But strength wasn't in hiding. It was in knowing when to rise. The school changed after that day. Jake lost his power. His friends distanced themselves. And Samantha. She found her voice. Other students started speaking out. The school held workshops on bullying awareness. Teachers paid attention. And Samantha became a quiet hero, not because she fought a bully, but because she showed everyone what real courage looked like. It wasn't about hurting others. It was about refusing to let anyone hurt you. And in that moment, when she faced down her greatest fear in front of the entire school, Samantha Lee became unstoppable.